Hello, I'm Martin Cross, World Rowing's TV commentator, former Olympic rower, and I'm talking to you on the 11th February 2017, a momentous day for the sport. Momentous because in Tokyo today, the Extraordinary Congress of World Rowing voted to kick lightweight men's four out of the Olympics. It was a choice between either the lightweight men's four, average weight of 70 kilos, or the open weight men's four, a class in which of course, Britain has had a fantastic history over the past few Olympiads. One of them had to go to make way for gender equality and the women's event, and it was decided that the lightweight men's four had to go, and that's a massive change for the sport. And I think initially one's got to feel really sorry for those incredible crews, those lightweight crews from Denmark, from Switzerland, of course, who won the games in Rio in 2016, the South Africans, of course, who won in London. A lot of nations now. Sweep rowing, lightweight sweep rowing, what will happen to it? There must be people at trials now, young lightweight athletes. Ali Douglas, lad who I used to teach at school, was really promising, medalled in the under-23s and the lightweight fours, and now, of course, for him as a lightweight rower, there's only the lightweight men's double sculls at the Olympic Games, and of course that's always been the case for women, extraordinarily competitive, but now that's program's been so compressed and we're going to miss all those fantastically close races. That's a really big deal, and I think there are lots of issues, particularly for young lads coming out of school at 18. Perhaps they are not in countries like Britain or Germany or USA, they're not the monster giants that people like Jürgen Grobler want in the men's program, you know, over 6'5" and 100 kilos, but they do want to carry on rowing, and there's been a space for them in the under 23 program because there's been funding. And it's been nice to see people like Ali Douglas, or Matt Benstead, he's gone through to the USA in a lightweight program in Princeton. And they've carried on. So now I do wonder and worry about what's going to happen to the longevity of young male rowers in countries like Britain and the USA. I also worry about the expertise in countries like Denmark and Switzerland, because although I think that, you know, you could take the Danish lightweight four, average weight of 70 kilos, maybe they could bulk up to about 80 kilos and they'd be extraordinarily competitive. But there's a whole fount of expertise within the sport of lightweight rowing, Denmark, Switzerland, other countries, which is pretty much based on funding for the Olympic Games. Everything's gone sort of mental in the past 15, 20 years. When I started rowing, it wasn't so dependent on Olympic funding as I seem to recall it. You had a whole vibrant lightweight program at the World Championships, lightweight men's eights, lightweight men's fours, lightweight men's singles, fantastic. Now you only get money for Olympic success. Seems to me that that money is going to be cut off from lightweight men's sweep rowing now, and perhaps that level of expertise may die. I really hope not, because I think the small nations have to look to the smaller boats to compete at the Olympic Games with the sort of powerful financial muscle that Britain and Germany and New Zealand or even America in the women's program have. They've got to concentrate on small boats. Now, of course, the challenge there is that we've got gender equality in the sport, and the women's program, of course, quite rightly has expanded, and the women's four has gone in, which hasn't been a boat. Now, the issue there is that's a real challenge for the sport, because nations like America, well, they'll just eat up, you know, women's four. They've got fantastic female athletes. They've got no problem running, you know, women's eight, women's four, women's pair, and just meddling in all of them. You'd think Britain, with the incredible financial resources they've got from their government grants, could also run women's four. The British women's four won a gold medal at the World Championships last year in Rotterdam, for example, as well as the women winning a silver medal in the Olympics, and of course they won in the pair. So they're a very strong program. New Zealand are, but other nations are going to really struggle. At the World Championships, the gaps between the medalists in the women's four were really significant, and there was a massive spread over the field. You've got major rowing countries like Australia struggling to produce a competitive women's 8, just scraped into the Olympics. How could they get a 4 into that to be competitive in the Olympics? You've got Germany, and I don't really understand why they're so successful in junior rowing, but they struggle to produce a women's 8 competitive at Olympic level. How are they going to get a 4 together? So these are real challenges for the sport, because if in effect you've got a really competitive event like lightweight men's 4 gone, and you've now got a big challenge for a lot of women's programs, big women's programs. How are you going to fund it? How are you going to put the money in to get women successful? I think maybe send a lot of your athletes to American universities because of Title IX. That's where the money is, and if they can get good in American universities, perhaps they'll get international programs. But I do think that probably a lot of the smaller programs, like Poland, like the Czech Republic, even like France, I think they'll probably still focus on putting money into small boats, because that's where they can be competitive, that's where they can pick up the medals. And I'm not sure that they'll have the big women's 8 programs or women's 4 indeed. So I think in the short term, the sport is perhaps not going to look as competitive on the Olympic stage as it might do. I really want and I really hope that women get to a fantastic state of competitiveness. I don't think that will necessarily happen before 2024 or after. The IOC have made a decision. They really want to see less lightweight men's rowing. The sport is very conservative, rowing, and it's a big change. I think rowing does need to change more. It's a very expensive sport, digging a new course and all that sort of stuff. It does seem like change now is going to be driven by the IOC Executive Committee. In future Olympiads, will they want more change? Will it be them driving the change in the sport rather than the sport? I don't know. But on this day, 11th of February, momentous day, just some reflections for you there. Have a great Saturday.